There is a village tucked between two gentle hills in the west of England called Nettlecombe. You won't find it easily on a map. It's the kind of place you only reach by taking a wrong turn and then being glad that you did. The village has one bakery, one church with a crooked spire, and a stone bridge that crosses a slow, clear stream. The stream has always been there. It was there before the houses, before the bridge, before anyone thought to give the village a name at all. At the edge of Nettlecombe, just past the bridge, sits a small stone cottage. Its walls are the colour of warm honey, and its roof is made of old thatch that has silvered with age. Ivy climbs one side of it slow and unhurried, the way ivy always is. This is the cottage of Thomas Ashworth, a retired miller, 72 years old, who has lived here for almost all his life. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breathing slow. We have all the time in the world tonight. Every morning Thomas wakes before the sun. Not because he sets an alarm, he stopped needing one years ago, but because his body has simply learned the rhythm of the days, the way old bodies do. He swings his legs from the bed slowly, feeling the cool wooden floor beneath his feet. He pulls on his cardigan, the grey one with the leather buttons, worn soft from decades of mornings, just like this one. Downstairs, the kitchen is small and low-ceilinged, with a black cast-iron stove in the corner. Thomas fills the kettle from the tap and sets it on the heat. While he waits, he opens the back door and steps out into the garden. The grass is wet with dew. The air smells of damp earth and distant wood smoke. Somewhere a wood pigeon calls, slow and low, the same 3 notes over and over. He stands there for a while, not thinking of anything in particular, just watching the mist lift off the Millstream at the bottom of the garden. There is no hurry in Thomas's life anymore. There hasn't been for a long time, and there is something rather wonderful in that. The kettle begins to sing. He goes back inside. Thomas used to run the mill that once stood just downstream from his cottage. It ground flour for the whole village and several farms besides, back when such things were still done slowly, by water and stone rather than steel and steam. The mill closed many years ago. The big wheel doesn't turn anymore, but Thomas still walks down to it most afternoons just to sit on the old bench beside the water and listen. He remembers the sound the wheel used to make, a deep wooden groan over and over, steady as a heartbeat. He remembers the flour dust that used to hang in the afternoon light, drifting like slow snow. He remembers his father teaching him how to read the grain of the wheat, how to know by feel alone whether the stones were set correctly. None of that is needed anymore. But the memories are pleasant ones, and Thomas doesn't mind revisiting them, the way you might return to a favourite armchair. The stream still runs past the old mill exactly as it always has. Some things in this world are patient. They wait for us, no matter how long we're gone. If your eyes are growing heavy, that's all right. Let them close. I'll keep talking, and you can simply listen, drifting further with every word. At 7:30, Thomas walks the short lane into the village, past the crooked church to the small bakery run by a woman named Margaret. Margaret has been baking bread in Nettlecombe for 40 years. Her ovens are old brick ones heated by wood, and the smell that comes from them each morning is something like a memory itself, warm and a little bit like childhood. Thomas always orders the same thing. One small wholemeal loaf and a single currant bun, still warm from the oven. Margaret always wraps them in the same brown paper, tied with the same thin string. They don't say very much to each other most mornings. They don't need to. 40 years of familiarity settles into a comfortable sort of quiet, where a nod and a smile say everything that needs saying. Outside, the village is slowly waking. A dog barks once somewhere down by the green. A tractor rumbles along the far lane, taking its time. Thomas walks home the long way, past the pond where the ducks are just beginning to stir, past the low stone wall where the roses grow wild and untended, exactly as they like to be. The rest of the day unfolds the way most days do in Nettlecombe, which is to say, slowly and without any particular urgency. Thomas spends an hour in the garden tending to a bed of runner beans that climb a row of hazel poles he cut himself years ago now from the little copse beyond the mill. The soil is dark and rich, and working it with his hands is a quiet, satisfying sort of labour, the kind that asks nothing of the mind and gives everything to the body. Later, he sits by the window with a pot of tea and a book he has read perhaps a dozen times before, an old volume of countryside essays, its spine soft and cracked from years of handling. He doesn't always finish a chapter. Sometimes he simply reads a page, sets the book down, and watches the light change on the garden wall. The clock on the mantelpiece ticks on, unhurried. It has always kept slightly the wrong time, and nobody has ever seen much reason to fix it. If you find your thoughts drifting, let them. There is nothing you need to hold on to here, just the sound of a slow village and a small stone cottage, and the gentle turning of an ordinary day. As the light begins to soften into evening, Thomas takes his usual walk down to the Millstream. This is his favourite part of the day, and has been for as long as he can remember. The water here moves slowly, sliding over smooth stones worn round by centuries of patient current. Willows lean out over the banks, their long branches trailing in the water like fingers testing the temperature. Thomas sits on the old bench, the same one his father sat on, and his father's father before that. He watches the light turn gold, then amber, then a deep and gentle blue. Swifts move overhead, cutting quiet arcs against the darkening sky. A heron stands motionless at the water's edge, patient as stone, waiting for a fish that may or may not come. There is nowhere Thomas needs to be, nothing he needs to do. Just this, the water, the light, the slow turning of the world. He thinks sometimes that this is what a long life teaches you if you let it. Not to hurry towards anything, not to hold too tightly. Just to sit quietly beside a stream that has always been patient with you and always will be. Your body's heavy now, sinking into the bed. That's exactly as it should be. Back at the cottage, Thomas makes himself a simple supper. A slice of the wholemeal bread from Margaret's bakery, some good cheese from the farm up the lane, a soft-boiled egg from his own hens. He eats slowly at the small table by the window, watching the last of the light fade from the garden. The hens have already settled themselves in their coop for the night, murmuring softly to one another the way hens do. Afterwards he lights a small fire in the old stone hearth, not because the evening is especially cold, but because he likes the sound of it. The soft crackle and settle of the logs, the warm orange light that fills the room. He sits in his armchair, the same one he has had for 30 years, its cushions worn into the exact shape of him. The clock ticks its wrong time, the fire settles and sighs. Somewhere outside an owl calls once, then falls silent.